4, 3, 2.
Okay, hi everybody, welcome. My name is Anne O'Connor. I'm the Employability Advisor here in the UL Career Service. So for the next 30 minutes or so, I am going to bring you through a presentation on preparing a personal statement for a postgrad study. We will be inviting questions. So what I'm going to do is if you want to type your questions into the question function there, and at the very end I will answer as many questions as I possibly can. Okay, so just to get started with, well, what is a personal statement, or what is the purpose of it? So it's a really important aspect of your application, and it's a way of expanding on your CV or your application form, and it gives the course director, I suppose, a chance to know a little bit more about you than he can ascertain or she can ascertain from your application or your CV. And it's a really good way of showing your interest and why you want to pursue this postgrad in particular. You may need to do several drafts of it before you're happy with it, so it does take a bit of time, but once you get the proper overall structure of a personal statement, it's really easy to replicate again and again, and it's going to be a really useful document to you probably when you go to applying for jobs, because you can reference it back when you're doing your cover letter as well. So if you take the time and do it right at the beginning, it will be of benefit to you. The one thing about personal statements as well, I've read quite a few of them, and you can see when they have been rushed. Okay, so it's really important to take your time and doing it. What should you include in a personal statement? This is a question we often get asked in the Career Service. So one thing I would say is different universities have different guidelines. So you need to reference the university you're applying to and the postgrad you're applying to as well, just to see what exactly they want included in it. But in general, as a general rule of thumb, I should say that there's 5 things you definitely need to include in it. Why you want to study this particular course, why you want to study at that institution or at this institution, why they should select you, specific skills you have that relate to the course, and explain how the course relates to your future career plans. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through each of those sections in detail and explain how you can expand on them further, and then how you can bring it together. So why you want to study this particular course. You need to show, I suppose, how you're interested in this field. So we would say that there should be some history or of this interest developing. So it could span back to when you're in secondary school, or when you were doing a particular module in your undergrad, you became really interested in this area. You could have learned more about it through tutorials, maybe a particular project you've done is part of your undergrad. Work experience sometimes often really sparks an interest in a particular area. So if you've had the opportunity to do a co-op placement or internships, you can explain about this. Maybe it's a reference back to your final year project that you've had to do something and the interest grew there. And maybe it is conversations you're having with other academic staff. Okay, so as you can see here, you're trying to build a profile of who you are and where this interest has developed. There also should be a certain amount of joy of studying this particular subject. We all know, even from being in primary school into secondary school and in college, there's certain subjects that you enjoy studying more, and there should be a correlation with that in the postgrad that you're going to do. And as well, as I mentioned earlier, maybe you have had an experience in your co-op which has inspired you to learn more about this subject. Okay, so try to bring it all together so that you're developing a really nice profile of how you've gained an interest in the particular subject to the different. Now, it could also be that you've had done volunteering work and you've had experience in community work as well that has sparked this interest further. Secondly, is the particular institution. Okay, so it could be the reputation of this particular course that you're applying to. Maybe the academics are well known in the field that you're interested in, and mention if you've read any of their work in detail. Specific academic staff where that you want to do research with, okay, so that you're familiar with them. How the institution offers the right course content and structure for you, so modules, projects, placement. Maybe it's a blended approach between online and face-to-face. How the institution could provide a contrast to where you've done your undergrad, okay? So maybe this particular institute has a specialism in the area, it's larger, maybe the facilities like the labs, the library, something that means you've looked at the university as a whole and you know what it has to offer you. So the facilities as well, the research equipment, the libraries, okay? So try, and if you're, what I would say when you're choosing a postgrad as well, and when you're looking at a particular postgrad, try to ensure that the institution you're applying to is renowned for that area of study, okay? So this will help when you're coming to do your postgrad application, and look at who the personnel are in that particular division, what publications they've done, what is their area of interest, and does it match your particular area of interest as well. Why they should select you. So what's unique about you and what you can offer, okay? So this is where you get to highlight your academic strengths and interests. So there should be like that profile I was saying earlier, going back to your undergrad or even second level of the particular subjects and interests. Your grades that you have received, that's a big point. So are you going to come with the sort of cutoff 2-2, 2-1, first class honour, and what have been the grades and the particular subjects that you're applying for as well? So have you won any particular prizes, bursaries, scholarships? Have you received the President's letter for your academic results? Have you any specific work experience to the particular area through a university co-op placement or an internship? Research activities, so have you done an FYP within the particular area, or your extracurricular activities which demonstrate your interest in the area, and you could highlight that as well. Okay, so you're really trying to match you to the particular course and what's unique about you and your interest to that particular course as well. And then moving on, I suppose, mention specific skills you have that relate to that course. So do you have any IT knowledge or particular software packaging? So if you're applying, let's say, for a marketing master's, have you done a short online course in Google Analytics? Do you know how to use InDesign or Photoshop? Try to marry what your interests are to that particular course, and try and prove that you've done extra sort of additional training in order to prepare yourself for that particular course. Do you understand any relevant scientific techniques, a high level of competence in a particular language that would be of benefit to you? So if you are maybe applying for international management and global business and you are fluent in Spanish, that would be obviously advantageous to your application. So have you done any research skills, interest methods? So have you, do you understand qualitative, quantitative? Have you participated in any of these research methods in your undergraduate degree? Okay, so what I would say as well, understand what the market is demanding. So if it's HR, big data is really important in HR at the moment. It's a hot topic. So if you're going for work and organizational behavior, coaching is a real hot topic in the market. If you're looking at marketing, the whole area of digital, online marketing, okay? So trying to match your skills to that particular master's and what the market is demanding as well. Now, explain how the course relates to your career plan, which is really important, because it's not just for the next 12 months I'm going to be completing this postgrad, but what am I going to do afterwards, and why is this so important for me? So how will this course give you the necessary skills to prepare you for that particular career? So banking, psychology, speech and language therapy, engineering, teaching. You should have a plan around this and how this course will benefit you to get there. Okay, so there are the 5 sections that you need to include within the personal statement. The next slide, I'm sorry as well, just before I move on to that, you need to be mindful as well of the application deadlines. Deadlines differ, okay? Knowing the closing dates and the application part, you need to check the website. And so even internally in UL, they may differ slightly. And a lot of places won't take late applications. And sometimes if a course is really popular and they get a lot of applications early on, they may close it down early. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Just here now, I'm going to talk about writing your personal statement. Okay, so this is one possible outline I would suggest. So write the personal statement in easy format and in group your sections together to ensure a coherent flow and there's no repetition. The information below outlines a sample outline that you could follow when writing your statement. So like that, very much under the questions I've highlighted there, you should section them together. So section 1 should be the intro. So why you've chosen the course, profession, the university. Bring that together. Section 2, your academic qualifications, your relevant subjects, your modules, your projects that you have studied. Section 3 is your personal qualities and achievements and what make you suitable, including evidence of how you have developed them. Okay. Section 4 then could look at expanding it and broadening out to any work experience that you've completed, outline what you've learned from the experience and the relevance to the course, how the course will give you the necessary skills to prepare for that specific career, like I mentioned earlier, banking, psychology, speech and language therapy, engineering, whatever it is, there needs to be correlation with where you're going in the future. And then finally, at the very last section, you just sum it all up and you bring it together, sort of summing up your suitability for that particular course. So just to recap on this again, it's really important that you break it down. So the first section is all about why you've chosen that course. Okay, so the university, where you want to go. Second of all, you're going to highlight all your academic qualifications and you can expand that out as much. Then you're going to talk about your personal qualities, so your personal strengths and your personal interest in this area. And then you're going to talk about work experience, internships, maybe you've done insight days, maybe you've work shadowed, and it has sort of helped you develop an interest in this area and where you want to go with it long term. And then at the very end, you bring it all together. Okay. Pay close attention, well, I suppose, when you're doing your personal statement to paragraphs and sentences. Okay, so it's really, as well with a personal statement, the person who's reading it is able to ascertain how you write, what level of English you have, the quality of your writing as well. So be mindful when you're doing that, that it's written to a high level, okay? You will not be able to include everything you've done, so you're going to have to be a little bit ruthless and maybe choose stuff that you're going to have to leave out. Your writing is a reflection, a little bit what I said, of your work, so make sure that it's as impressive as possible. Just in relation to the personal pronoun, it is acceptable to use I in your personal statement, but don't overuse it. When you overuse I, it becomes very repetitive and quite childish when you're writing in that way. So use it, but use it in a sparingly. Also use some linking words, okay? So additionally, furthermore, however, to link your sentences and also to link common themes. Okay, sorry, I might have skipped ahead there. Nope, that's fine. Also, you may be asked in your application for your postgrad to provide referees. It may not be the case, but sometimes it is. We would say that you need to produce at least one academic referee. So try to highlight an academic who knows you well, okay, so you have a relationship with. That can be hard, I know, when there's like 500 of you in a lecture, but maybe there's a tutor that you've worked well, maybe there's a particular academic you've worked in a project well, that will be able to give a good reference as to who you are. Always ask their permission beforehand, okay? And always, I would let them know what you've applied for and that they may be asked to be your referee for that particular. Give them a copy of your supporting statement, okay? So then they can reference it back when they're asked for the particular reference, okay? So as much information you can give to the referee, the better, okay? And it's, I would say, it's better to be in a position where you're managing that relationship rather than it being sort of a reactive. So going, oh my God, I need to give a reference, put somebody's name down and don't follow through. It just doesn't bode well for you in particular, okay? What to avoid when you are putting your personal statement together. So overuse of cliches. So from a very young age, I've always wanted to be an astronaut. Try to minimize those type of statements. Try don't be stating the obvious. In my work experience, I learned to communicate effectively with children. If you've worked in a preschool as a teacher, okay, it needs to be more in depth and sort of a broader experience. Flattery is also is not going to do you particularly well, so try to minimize that as well. Sweeping unproven claims as well. So like, I'm highly motivated, my achievements are vast. Okay, be realistic in relation to who you are and what you've done. Stilted vocabulary as well. So, fueled my desire, they're overused. You would get that if you Google personal statements, this type of language comes back a lot, and it sort of detracts from who you are personally and the experiences you've gone through as well. So aim to write a really well written document from you, okay, from the person, from the heart, that explains in a very genuine way your experience and why you want to pursue this particular postgrad. Obviously, never write anything negative about anything previous, your previous college you've been to, previous work experiences. It just won't hold well. And irrelevant personal facts as well. That this is a document and it's very much focusing on your academics and your career. Other stuff doesn't need to come into consideration. Okay, so sometimes I find with students, maybe they've applied for something in the past, they haven't completed it, or something has happened along the way. They feel like they have to over explain this in the personal statement. No, you don't. Okay, all you have to do is follow the 5 sections I've highlighted, and follow that through. They don't need to know everything that's gone on in the background, nor is it relevant to the application as well. So just bear that in mind. Sometimes people feel they need to go into a lot of detail. You don't. Be mindful as well. It's really important to watch your spelling and grammar. I myself fall into this trap. When you write a document and you reread it and reread it, sometimes we just become blind to our own mistakes. So I would advise you to give the document to somebody else to read, 2 or 3 people even to read, and pick up on things, because it's really important that your spelling and grammar is correct in the application. Just in summary, so finally, before I start looking at the questions that are coming in, do tailor your personal statement. So if you are sending out quite a lot, if you're applying to a few postgrads, do tailor it to each postgrad, okay? Don't make a long list of things you've done, read, watched without explaining it. Yeah, sometimes you have to give everything context, okay? So make it more descriptive rather than just making a sort of blanket statement. Do research the skills and qualities, the course you're applying for demand, and also the profession that you're hoping to go into demand. Don't mention irrelevant general hobbies, so you want to stand out in the wrong way. Just, only put in there what's relevant to the application and the course. Do mention your career path that you're considering to take. Don't leave your statement to last minute, and this is really important. They take time. And you need to leave it sit there for a couple of hours and go back to it again, re-look at it, reread it, re-engineer it, okay? And then you need to allow time as well for to get somebody else to proofread as well. And really important, do keep a copy of what you've written. You may, if you have to go for an interview for the particular program, you may have to refer to it, okay? And just, I suppose, how we can help. If you are a UL student, you can access our service through careersconnect.ul.ie and book a one-to-one appointment, and we will go through your personal statement. So if you've written it and you want somebody to review it and get some guidance on it, please do that. And I suppose just keep a copy of what you've written just in case you need it. Unfortunately, if you're not a UL student, I can't offer you that service to review your personal statement. So I think that's it. I've come to the end of my presentation. I see there's some questions coming in here. So one student has asked, how long should your personal statement be? That will be stipulated in the application. Okay, so depending on which university you're applying to or which course you're applying to, they will set the the word count for you. So it could be anything from 500 to 1,000 maybe, depending on the application. So another one coming here, where does the personal fit into the application process for the PhD? It is usually submitted as a separate alongside the... Okay, there's just a question here in relation to PhD. Where does the personal statement fit into the application process? It is usually submitted as a separate document alongside the application form, or is a part of the application form itself. That depends on the application process for the PhD. It may be not... you may not have to write a personal statement for the application. They vary. So the best way to answer that is go back to the department or the college you're applying for your PhD and ask them exactly what they need within the application process. Okay, so when I'm talking about personal statements here, not every course will require them. Okay, but if they do, this is the best way to approach it. If I'm able to cover all 5 sections, but do so in a more individual way, will this hamper the impact of my statement? So I'm just going to reread that again, because if I am able to cover all 5 sections, but do so in a more individual way, will this hamper the impact of my statement? It really depends on how you put it together. Like I said, try and avoid bringing in personal conversations. Try and avoid bringing in hobbies and interests just for the sake of it. I would try as much as possible to, I suppose, knit my own story back to those 5 sections and the relevance of it to the particular statement. So I would probably have to look at your personal statement to answer that in more detail and see what exactly you've written. Okay, how many postgrads should I apply to? Well, that really depends. Okay, I would always say you should have one postgrad that you really want, and that's the one that you want. So that should be location, the reputation of the university, and it should be an expert in the area you want to study in. And then you should have at least 2 other backup postgrads that you want to get if you don't get your first choice. But I would always, sometimes people make decisions around postgrad based on location or other factors. What I would say more important than your undergrad, you really need to look at the university's reputation for that particular program and their sort of research output in that particular area. Okay. Would it be relevant to say that I would be an international student? They should be able to get that information from another part of your application form, but if you feel that you want to highlight maybe that you are let's say showing your adaptability and your flexibility and coming to the Irish market, you could mention it if you feel it fits under any of the 5 categories that I have just mentioned there. Are Career Services free in UL? Yes, it's a free service. It's open to all students. So from first year straight through to PhD students, we offer several services from one-to-one consultations to online webinars such as this. We work exclusively with certain courses and deliver sort of professional development programs in that. We organize different events such as careers fairs. We bring employers on campus. We offer CV reviews, postgrad reviews, we do mock interviews, we do LinkedIn sessions, we do job search sessions. So yeah, we have a comprehensive service available to all students and it's completely free. Have you any advice for someone who is looking to do a master's after working for 10 years post-degree, upskilling for a career transition? Anything to specifically note in the statement? Well, I think in that particular area you need to highlight why why you're transitioning, and what you want to get out of your new career, and what skills you have developed to date that fit that new career. Okay, so lots of people come back and do masters after a certain amount of work experience, but you really need to connect what it is you want to do in the future and how this master's is going to get there. And I suppose some of the transferable skills you have brought from your previous work experience. How would we be best to address or who would be best to address our letters to? Should we use the contact professor's name themselves, or I would like to invite to whom it concerns? Yes, if you can get the name of the course director, because they will be the person reviewing it, yes, you can address it to the course director. That would be the best way of doing it, and that information you can get mostly from the website as well, who's going to be the course director. Who else can I ask for a referee beside my lecturers? Well, maybe somebody you could ask for somebody you've worked with for quite a while, maybe in a paid position or in a voluntary position. Okay, so it's normally academic or a work reference. Academic, obviously, to stand over your sort of academic credentials. A work reference could stand over the other skills you're highlighting, your trustworthiness, if you're hardworking. If you haven't had the opportunity to be in a paid employment, but maybe you have done some volunteering work, you could add that as well. I would stay away from a statement of just getting somebody you know in the community of good standing to give you a personal reference. It isn't as strong. You know, I would really prefer you use somebody you've worked with closely, who knows you well, and who can stand over your character and your work experience or your academics. Will I have help from the university? I don't understand the context of that. If you are a UL student and you are applying for a master's at the moment and you want help with a personal statement, absolutely, you can go online. I'll just go back here to, you can just go online and book a from current slide consultation. You can go online here and book a consultation with us, and we would help with your personal statement. If you are not a student of UL at the moment, maybe you want to contact the particular program or course director of the program you're applying to and see if they can offer you any additional assistance around the personal statement if it's required for the particular job, okay, or particular course, should I say. Oopsie daisy, I've just got rid of the questions, sorry now. Next one down. What kind of help can I get the university? I assuming this is around writing your personal statement. Like I said, if you're a current student of the University of Limerick, we'd be happy to help. If not, perhaps you can go back to the particular program you're applying to and just ask for guidance. There is also a personal statement booklet that we have produced, and Marcoms have that particular personal statement. So what I'm going to do is going to ask them, to everybody who has attended this session, if they will email you all on that booklet, and I will make my slides available as well. So if you want to sort of reference back my slides and reference that booklet, it will help you immensely when you're putting your personal statement together. If the course doesn't ask for a personal statement, will it hurt my application to include one? Anyways, if they're not looking for it, then I wouldn't include it because it's not part of their application process. But you can just verify with the course director if that's okay. But if they're not looking for it, then there's no need to do a personal statement. from when onwards can I get help from the Career Service? So once you're enrolled with the university and you're an active student or you're a live student, yeah, you can get help from the Career Service. So we are available all year round. So whenever you're on campus and you are starting your course, we are there to assist you. And I think that's it. I have no more questions. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much for listening to me, and thank you very much for submitting all those questions. I hope you found it useful. And what I'm going to do is just follow up with the team here who've organised the event and get them to send you on my slides and the person statement booklet as well that we have designed. Okay, thank you all. Bye.